CTI Spotlight. I'm your host, Abby Briscoe, and today we're here with Lene Anderson, who plays Annie Sullivan, and Abby Keith, who plays Helen Keller. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Abby.
So Lene, could you tell us about your background as a teacher in real life and how that's helped prepare you for the role of Annie Sullivan?
Sure. I love teaching. It's my favorite thing. And one of the things I love so much about teaching is getting to be innovative and looking for creative ways to present what I need to teach. Understanding I teach English, understanding that not every student likes English or writing papers. How can I engage them and get them really interested in what they're learning? And I think that's so connected to Annie and how she approaches Helen. She's a student that can't hear or see, and just the approach to teaching someone like that language, you have to go really beyond anything you've ever experienced before, because people have often taught, blind or deaf students, but have a deaf and blind student is really something that's different. So I really respect and have learned a lot about even acting, but in teaching as well, as I've worked with a student that is deaf and blind.
Wow, that's very insightful. Did you know sign language before coming onto the show? Because I know that's something that Annie Sullivan has to use to teach Helen.
Yes, I knew very little. I knew my alphabet and a couple rudimentary signs. I actually almost lost my hearing when I was a young child. I had a very severe case of chicken pox, and so from the age of 1.5 to 3, my eardrums burst several times, and when I was 8, I had corrective surgery. And through all of that, I was really inspired to learn sign language, because that was almost a very big part of my life. When I was 8 years old, I also had my uncle married a woman who is legally deaf, and she speaks English, Spanish, and ASL. So she was really inspiring to me too. So in college, I took a beginner sign language class. So I did already know sign language, at least the alphabet, when I started the show.
Do you want to show us some of the words that you'll be using in the show?
Sure.
Teach Helen?
Yes. One of the first words I teach Helen is doll. And in the show a lot, I'm going to grab her hand because, again, she's deaf and blind. So I can't just sign like I would to a deaf person because I can't see my hand. So I actually use her hand like a piece of paper, and then I make the letter. The first time, Helen will feel the shape of my fingers. So what I've made is D, and then I would place it in her hand. And then O is a circle. Most of us know that one. And then L is a pretty easy one. Most of us know from being made fun of in middle school. And I make all of the signs right into her hand. And Helen will also, she spells back into my hand as well. So it's like a piece of paper and spelling. So that's the first learn that she learns.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
By chance, do you know how long ASL had been had been around since Helen came?
I really don't. There is a line in the show where Annie says that Spanish monks came up with the sign language system. ASL stands for American Sign Language. I do know that other countries have their own versions. For instance, my aunt knows a Spanish version of ASL, being bilingual herself. And then ASL really has become more popular with young children. A lot of parents, even before they teach their children to speak, they're teaching them sign language. Yes, so like my nieces and nephews learned more and please over a lot of simple signs that sometimes you can teach even young children that can't speak yet.
That's so cool. One more question for you. What do you admire most about your relationship with Helen?
I love, there's a part at the very end of the show where Annie says that she treats Helen like a seeing child because she expects her to see. And I think the really amazing thing to me about Annie and Helen, even as you do research to them, is how Annie, like a good teacher, really pushed Helen. She raised the bar and made her really reach for language. But if you do research, Helen was an incredibly bright woman, and I don't know that we would have known the impact that she could have had in the world had she not had a teacher that really pushed her, that raised the bar and expected her to reach, but just how willing Helen was to learn from someone else. You don't quite see that in the show, because the show is really about Helen's first discovery of language, but the more you research her life, it's just really amazing how the two women took that language and used it to educate others on how to help deafblind individuals, but also to speak out for women's rights and a lot of other things in our world.
Yes, definitely. So it's your turn, Abby. What is a fun or interesting fact about Helen that you'd like to share?
One fun and interesting fact about Helen Keller is even though she was blind and she was deaf, she still made some different signs for some different things, like the mother.
Oh, so she came up with her own way of speaking.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Like she made she made her own mother sign when she like this because she was an actress.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. What has been the hardest challenge in rehearsals for you?
The hardest challenge was probably just sitting there because no one wanted to be around Helen Keller, so she was really lonely. So I just sit there a lot of the times and do nothing, like by the pub at one part of it, with the doll.
Oh.
After I lock Annie in.
So you're kind of just there and in your own reality, your own worlds, apart from what's going on with the family.
Mm-hmm.
That's really sad.
So I'm really lonely.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that things did change for Helen in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
My last question is, what's been the most fun thing about playing Helen Keller?
There are two things. One, the food fight, obviously. The second thing is being doing things with the show dog, Vivian Lee. She's Belle, and she's just sweet.
Aww.
It's really sweet puppy.
Sometimes she's not there, so it's what are we doing? Because yesterday when we did the second scene, she wasn't there, so he was just I brought Helen to play with and just did the air because she wasn't there, and I had nothing to sign on so I was just signing into the air because usually instead of signing into her paw, we chose to sign onto her.
Oh.
Maybe put my hand on her.
So it's like
And
she's
sign
trying
on
to
to
teach
her.
the dog
Yeah.
a word at one point in the
Aw.
show. Yeah.
Or it also looks, we also changed it so it also looks like she's trying, and because then later she says no,
Yeah.
dog.
Yep.
So it makes it make more sense.
Abby's a really good wrestler. We get to wrestle in that food fight scene, so it's a lot of fun.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Another thing that's hard is because I keep trying to be gentle, but usually sometimes
We have a lot of fun.
Thank you both for being on the show today.
Thank you, Abby.
And thank you all for tuning in. We hope to see you here starting April 1st.